monthly webinar. So today we're joining us live from the Apex Kitchen. We're kind of mixing things up today. We're going to talk about cooking with fresh fruits and veggies. First, we're going to go over a few webinar agenda items. I go with my mouse here for a second. There we go. So, webinar housekeeping. All attendees will be in listen-only mode for the duration of the webinar. For questions or comments, use the chat box located in the right-hand side of your webinar screen. For audio access, attendees can use computer audio or call in using the phone option. Presentation slides and resources can be downloaded by clicking the icon on the right-hand side of your webinar screen at the end of the presentation. So the agenda for today: review of why fruit and vegetables are good for us, kind of talk about our servings, how many should we be eating, the importance of them, tips to increase them in our diet, and then at the end we'll do a little recipe and food demonstration for you. A couple other things we're going to talk about: how to store and just different ways to cook them today. So we chose cooking with fresh fruits and vegetables for the month of September because it is Fruit and Veggie Month. It's a month-long celebration raising awareness of everyone's love for fruits and vegetables. I say love lightly. I know not everyone loves fruits and vegetables, but the important thing is at this point in time, we know it's been drilled into us from when we were little kids. They're really good for us, and they are. So it's just a good month to remind ourselves on why they're so good for us. The theme for this year is celebrating the roots of our food. So getting back to the roots and getting back to the basics without overcomplicating things. Scientific research shows us the importance of fruit and vegetables and how it reduces the chances of chronic disease and also helps manage those with chronic diseases. Yet most Americans do not hit the recommended daily dosing of around 5 servings a day. So we haven't been meeting that for quite some time now. So this is just a really good month-long campaign trying to increase those fruits and vegetables. So getting back to those roots, don't try to overcomplicate things. Let's say Friday night, it's your weekly pizza night. You do pizza and breadsticks every Friday. You don't have to change that. Let's just say instead of breadsticks, you can add a side salad, or if you want to have pizza and breadsticks, just have a veggie tray on the table in front of you, and that way you have veggies and dip as well. Just trying to add those things or doing simple things so we don't overcomplicate, so we can continue on increasing our fruits and vegetables. So how much should I be eating? And that includes your loved ones as well, our kids and our teenagers, and our older adults as well. So prior to the Fruit and Veggie More Matters month, it was the 5 a Day for Better Health campaign. That was trying to motivate Americans to eat at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. But what that research showed us is that people were still only getting about 2.5 servings. So then they upped the recommendation to 10 servings, hoping we could at least get 5. So we're kind of stuck still at that 5, but we're still not meeting those standards. So I really like this chart because it breaks it down by cups. I have a better understanding of how much I should be getting if I break it down by cups. So as an adult, we should be getting 1.5 to 2 cups of fruits a day and 2.5 to 3 cups of veggies a day. And you can mix that up. If you're getting 5 a day, that's the goal. That's the end goal. If you just end up with 5 cups of fruit, at least you got your servings in. And to kind of give you an example of that, an ear of corn is going to be a cup, a large banana, one large orange, the sweet potato, that's going to be 1 cup. Half a cup is going to be things like 5 to 6 broccoli florets, 4 or 5 strawberries, 5 or 6 baby carrots. So we're not talking about huge amounts here. It's definitely things that we can be doing every single day, especially for our kids. 1 to 1.5 cups of fruit and 1 to 2 cups of veggies is very doable, especially if we're adding those small amounts through each meal and snack time. So let's talk tips. How can we increase our fruit and vegetable intake? An old coworker of mine who was a registered dietitian helped create this taste idea, T-A-S-T-E. So the T in this is try something new. We can kind of get in a rut. You stick with the two vegetables you know you like, broccoli and carrots. That's the same thing you have every single day, or that's what you cook with. Try adding something new this week. Try Brussels sprouts instead. Or you haven't tried a star fruit, go ahead and try it. Try something new, adding that into your family's diet. The other thing is to switch up your recipes. Maybe you make a chili, which we're gonna make later, and you don't have a ton of vegetables in it. There's no reason why you can't try adding a few different veggies to it. The other thing is you could try different colors. If you do love carrots, there's purple carrots, and then cauliflower, there's orange cauliflower. So there's all different varieties of different fruits and vegetables. The A in taste, and this is probably what I consider the most important one, is that all forms of fruits and veggies count. That's canned, frozen, fresh. You know, a lot of times people are thinking, well, I should probably only eat fresh fruits and vegetables, but I don't know about you, but I'll go into my fridge at the end of the week, and a lot of my fresh fruits and veggies are no longer edible. And so then I feel guilty because that's food waste. I didn't eat the wasted money. So frozen and canned are a really good opportunity for things to last and to have on hand in your pantry and your freezer to always have those fruits and veggies available. And they're easy, canned and frozen is really easy to cook with as well. Having canned beans in your pantry, you can always add those to a soup, a casserole, quesadillas. It's a good form of adding a veggie and a protein. The S in taste is shop smart. So when we're shopping smart, another thing, plan ahead, meal prep. It takes some time, but if you can set aside 30 minutes each week of meal prep, prepping out your meals and your menu for ahead, then you know really only need to buy 2 or 3 things of fresh veggies or fruits, and you use those earlier on in the week so you know that they're going to stay good, and then you can use them in your recipe. And then for the rest of the week, you can use your canned and your frozen items. The other thing, when you're shopping for your canned and frozen items, something to consider, when you see those frozen vegetables and fruits that may be sitting in a sauce, like a broccoli and a cheese sauce or some sort of garlic sauce, just buy the plain, because those sauces are what have the added sodium and added sugar that a lot of us are trying to avoid. So by just buying the plain, you can add your own seasoning to it. That way you know what you're putting into your diet. So the next T is turn it into a family activity. If you have kids at home or family friends or nieces and nephews, grandchildren, this is a great opportunity to involve them in this. When you're at the grocery store, let them pick something out, maybe something they haven't tried or haven't been willing to try before. If they picked it out, gives them more reason to try it later. Or involve them in the cooking process. There's a lot of kid-friendly knives. I've actually found a few at Walmart and Amazon, and that way you know that you're still being safe, but involve them in the cooking process. If they helped cook it, they're probably more likely to eat it. The other thing to consider is have a family garden. We have a garden at home, and my kids love to water it, love to go out and pick tomatoes and eggplants off. It makes it more fun, and they've been more willing to try those things. This is probably the most important thing when it comes to turning it into a family activity, and that's being a good role model for your kids. If they're going to hear you say, oh, I don't like Brussels sprouts, oh, I haven't tried that, you know, something along those lines, if they're hearing you say that, why should they give it a try? So even if it's them seeing you try by, I actually have never tried this before, I'm going to try it. They're seeing you try something new. And constantly remind them their taste buds are always changing, including ours. Our taste buds are always changing. So just because you tried something 2 or 3 years ago, you didn't like it, doesn't mean you might not like it today, especially if it's cooked in a different way. So the next and the E in this is explore the bountiful variety. There's over 300 different varieties of fruits and vegetables. So many different options to choose from. And in all of that variety, there's different colors. The more colors you see, the more vitamins and nutrients you get. What we're going to find out next is just how those vitamins and nutrients help our bodies. So heart and brain health, two very important things. Researchers have found that individuals with a high daily intake of vegetables and fruits also demonstrate higher cognitive performance. And fruits and veggies of many different colors help your heart and lower your blood pressure. Research also showed that a higher intake of 2.5 more servings of fruits and vegetables actually increased our antioxidants levels and lowers our free radicals induced damage to our cells. So by increasing our fruits and vegetables, we're only helping our bodies. And actually, in my webinar in February, Food and Mood, we touched base a lot on this, that the Mediterranean diet, which is high in fruits and vegetables, the research showed better mental health. So all in all, it's really good for our brain and our hearts. So what's in season? Right now, this is a quick, easy Google search. And just finding in your local state or around your area what could be in season. Right now, if you walk into the store, you're going to see tons of different varieties of apples. We're clearly in apple season now that we're entering fall. So really paying attention to what's in season helps, because a lot of times those fresh fruits and vegetables are lower cost. And then the other thing is, do you avoid buying fresh fruits and vegetables because you think they'll spoil before you use them? Like I said, a lot of times you open up your fridge and you're like, oh, I did not use that bag of lettuce, toss. Another thing thrown away. So trying to buy things you know you'll use and will stay good longer. So buy fruits and vegetables in season because they are cheaper. And then if you used a portion of a vegetable, especially, don't be afraid to go ahead and freeze that. That could be really good in a soup or a casserole later on in time. Something that I personally do and I've really benefited from is an actual vinegar wash. What you do is you deep clean your sink, sanitize it, fill it with water. A lot of times I throw in berries because we go through a lot of berries at my house. Throw in your berries and 1 cup of vinegar, let it sit for about 15 minutes. Really helps to get rid of all that added bacteria and anything along those lines. But also I've noticed it helps them last longer, probably about a week or so. So I don't know about you, but sometimes you'll go in and 1 strawberry is bad and the whole bottle is bad too. Another thing wasted. So just trying to think of all the tips and tricks to help those fresh fruits and veggies last longer. Sorry, there it is. Okay. There we go. Okay, so how to store. A lot of times there's a lot of different variety of how we're supposed to store fruits and vegetables. And by storing them properly, we can help them last longer. So here's a list of things that should be in the refrigerator. But some other tips: do not store fruits and vegetables together. Try to put those in different drawers or crispers, because fruits give off a higher level of ethylene, which is the ripening agent. So if you throw in strawberries with a vegetable, the vegetable may go bad quicker than it normally would have. And then before storing vegetables, remove ties and rubber bands, making sure there's plenty of space. And if it's in a bag, making sure there's holes in the bag to keep airflow throughout. That'll help things stay better longer as well. For fruits, non-cherry stone fruits, avocados, tomatoes, mangoes, melons, apples, and pears will continue to ripen if left out. And while items like bell peppers, grapes, and all citrus and berries will only deteriorate deteriorate if you leave them out. So those are things that should go right into the fridge. So ripen on the counter, then refrigerate. We just talked about these. Avocados, we all know they're rock hard 1 second, and then all of a sudden it's past due. You cut them and they're all brown. So really try to pay attention, get them to the point where you like them, and then throw them in the fridge, and they'll last longer. Same thing as like peaches, pears, plums, plum cocks. And next, storage at room temperature. So these are all things that can be left out at room temperature as well. Many fruits and vegetables should only be stored at room temperature. In fact, if you have a tomato plant at home and you bring one in that isn't quite red yet, if you throw it in the fridge, it's not going to continue to ripen. And a lot of times, especially with tomatoes, you're going to lose that really good flavor. So those are some things that should stay out on your countertops or at room temperature. And then things to keep away from direct sunlight: garlic, onions, potatoes, and sweet potatoes. Putting those in the pantry in a well-ventilated area. That way they stay good longer as well. Cucumbers, eggplant, and peppers can be refrigerated for 1 to 3 days if they are used soon after removing from the refrigerator. Okay, so cooking methods. We've talked about shopping, we've talked about how to store, so let's talk about how to cook those veggies and those fruits. So kind of putting them in order on how they best preserve nutrients. Your top way is going to be steamed. This is the best way to cook vegetables because it preserves a majority of the nutrients. It's also super easy. You just need to get one of those steaming baskets, throw it on top of your boiling pot of water, nice little, add your seasonings, and there you go. And a lot of times too, the nutrients will fall back into that water. That's a really good, something you could freeze and use later for a stew, a soup, something along those lines to get those added nutrients. Next up is sauteing. This is super easy. This is what we do a lot at my house. This is the second best way to cook vegetables. Sauteing garlic or your favorite seasonings, add a little bit of olive oil. And the great thing about sauteing in a saute pan, you can make a whole meal out of that. Add a protein, a grain, a veggie, and a sauce. Your meal is done. And it's just one pot to clean, which is my favorite way to cook. And this is probably my favorite way, is roasting. Roasting can be quick and easy. Toss it in veggie, toss your veggies in an olive oil, your favorite seasoning, nice and crunchy treat. This is also one of those super easy ways to just do one sheet pan cooking. Throw your foil down, do 1/2 salmon, your other side of veggies, throw it in the oven, and you're good to go. Dinner is one and done. Next is grilling. I think we still have maybe a month or 2 left of grilling season in. So try putting veggies on a kebab for a delicious smoky flavor. We did try this summer. This was pineapple drizzled with honey on the grill, and it ended up being delicious. So that's a good idea to try something new. And then something too I wanted to add for older adults especially, but really just for everyone, try to get at least 1 serving of raw fruits or vegetables. That's how you're going to get the most nutrients, especially fiber, things that are going to aid in your digestion. All right, so now we're going to do some cooking. Today we are going to make a crock pot vegetarian chili recipe. I don't know about you, but it's officially fall for me, and it's my favorite season. Chili and soup, absolute favorite time of year. We probably have one or the other once or twice a week in my house. And the crock pot is probably my favorite cooking utensil. It is so easy, especially when you're working full time, you got a lot going on after school, pickups. To come home to a dinner already made is just so much easier instead of trying to think of something as you walk into the door. A couple other kitchen utensils I love to use, air fryer. Air fryer also is a really good one for like Brussels sprouts or broccoli, kind of gives that nice crunchy too. And it also, you can do different proteins in there as well. And I also love using the Instapot. That can just do like a soup or a roast, a chili a lot quicker than if you had to, like, than doing the crock pot. So first, just a quick tip, before I start cooking, I always want to make sure my crock pot is already starting to heat up. So I'm going to put this on high, because this is either low for 8 hours. So let's say you throw this in Sunday morning and you have it, you know, Sunday football. You could do low for 8 hours or high for 4 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on so it's heating up, ready to go. Of course, wash my hands before touching food. And I did a lot of pre-chopping so we could get through the recipe, because this does call for a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, but also a lot of canned goods. This is what I like to call a quick, easy dump recipe. If you've got stuff you've got to use up in the refrigerator or your pantry, this is a perfect opportunity to throw together. Add things to your chili you don't normally add, or add something to a soup you don't normally add if you need to use it up. So this is going to call for half red onion diced. I went ahead and just did a normal white sweet onion. I didn't use a red onion, but that's because I had one left at home and I knew I needed to use it up. Then it's going to call for 2 celery sticks. We have 1 pre-chopped. I'm going to go ahead and start chopping this other. I know not everyone loves celery in soups or chilies, but I think it's a nice added crunch. So we're going to chop this up. Celery is one of those other ones I feel like that you buy and then it sits in the refrigerator for a long time. So one of those, if it's a little, looks like it's about to go, throw it in a soup or a chili, you're never going to know because it softens up anyway. So throw that in. Then we have 1 carrot diced. This is also, so this was an actual carrot stick, but if you have a bag of baby carrots that are about to go, perfect opportunity to use those up as well. Chop those up, throw those in. Then we have 1 green bell pepper and 1 red bell pepper. So I already chopped up my red bell pepper. I'm going to go ahead and do my green, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and chop my red. This is also, if you have orange and yellow at home, use orange and yellow. It doesn't truly matter, especially once it's in the soup. I'm also a big jalapeno fan, so I feel like this chili would be really good chopped with jalapenos. So I'm going to chop these up, slice them, and then dice them into smaller pieces, just like the green pepper. This is one of the veggies that I feel like once you have in your refrigerator can last longer. And another good tip, if you feel like you aren't using your peppers, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pre-chop them. That way it's ready to go for a grab and go snack. Already chopped up in my Ziploc baggies. I can just grab those, dip them in my hummus, my ranch. Perfect crunchy snack to get me through the day instead of the bag of chips I would prefer. So after the bell peppers, we have the sweet potato, which I already peeled and diced as well. I know not everyone's a sweet potato fan, but I recently started adding sweet potatoes to my chili, and I really enjoy it. This is a vegetarian chili, but if you wanted to add ground beef or ground turkey, you absolutely could. I just thought since we were talking fruits and veggies today, it probably should be. The other great thing about this is all the toppings are welcome. Sour cream, shredded cheese, avocado, jalapeno, whatever you prefer. It's just another good opportunity to kind of clean out your fridge on things that need to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these in the crock pot. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest. So we have our sweet potato, our onion. I tried a trick today. My coworker told me to put a wet paper towel next to the onion as you chop, and it's supposed to help you not cry. It didn't work. So you could try it, but it didn't work for me. Add my celery. So next, we have our canned goods. Calling for our beans. I did want to point out, if you're watching your sodium, you can purchase canned goods with no salt added. And the other thing is I usually try to do off-brand things. A lot of times, I don't know if you've noticed at the grocery store, but all of the name brand things are going to be at your eye level, and your off brand, which is usually cheaper, is going to be above or below, kind of the whole marketing thing. So make sure you're looking for the best price on your price tags. So add my black beans. I'm not a huge fan of garbanzo beans, so I'm going to use the white northern beans. And these, of course, were drained and rinsed beforehand. And then to add a little bit more flavor, instead of the kidney beans they called for, I went ahead and did chili beans just because I like my chili to be a little bit more spicy. So adding those. Then this calls for 2 cans of diced green chili and then a can of diced tomatoes, but I found diced tomatoes with green chilies. So I feel like that's easier to grab. So toss that in. Then 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce and 1 cup of water. I think this would be really good with like a veggie stock as well if you're going vegetarian, or chicken stock, just to add some extra flavor. And then last but not least, we're gonna add our seasonings. So we need 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. I'm probably gonna up that to 3 because I love garlic. And that's the nice thing about these recipes is you can make it your own. If you have certain flavors you enjoy, add more of them, take it out if you don't like spice. And then next we've got our chili powder. So this is 2.5 tablespoons. Oh, and I realized we don't have our cumin. I can add that later. That's a chili must-have though. 1. Just half this one. And then next would be the cumin, which we don't have today, but definitely include in your chili. And then salt and black pepper, which I'm just gonna add. And then our oregano is 2 teaspoons. After that, we're going to stir it up. Another good couple of tips. Once you have this all stirred up and the lid is on, try not to go and check the lid too often. A lot of times that's going to add more cooking time than you want. So I'll probably come, I'm probably going to add another cup of water just for more liquid. And then check on these one more time, check the flavor, make sure I don't need any more salt or anything along those lines. But other than that, I'll keep it covered the whole time, just so that it only takes that for the 4 hours that we discussed. Lots of colors. I don't know how well you can see it, but probably just eyeing 5 or 6 different colors. We talked about that. The more colors you see, the more vitamins and nutrients you get. So I'm going to cover this up. And in 4 hours, you're going to have dinner. So thanks so much for joining this month's webinar. If you ever have any questions, here's my contact information. I'm happy to answer anything. I hope you can join us next month for our Kinetiq Health webinar. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.